Good. Start.
A very good evening to all. My today's topic is cell, the unit of life. As we all know, what is cell? Cell is the very basic and very fundamental unit of life. It is very essential for any living organisms. Here we are going to discuss about the cell theory, and the types of cell, that is the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes, and all the organelles which are present in the prokaryotic or eukaryotic cells. So let us start. What is cell? The cell is the very basic unit of the life. The very first live cell was seen and described by Anton von Leeuwenhoek, and Robert Brown later discovered the nucleus. Then cells are of two types, and on the basis of that, organisms are differentiated in two types, that is the unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms.
If there is no problem, then on your camera video camera. If there is no problem, and you can do that.
Sir, I will try it next time. Actually सर अभी फिर मुझे दूसरे फोन से भी कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा, इसलिए
कंटिन्यू करो. ठीक.
So there are two type of organisms, that is unicellular organisms and multicellular organisms. Unicellular organisms are having single type of cells, and multicellular organisms are having different type of cells. Unicellular organisms are capable of independent existence, that is like bacteria. They can exist independently, and unicellular organisms are even capable of performing essential functions of life, just like metabolism, respiration, and many other essential functions which are important for life. Next is cell theory. In 1938, Matthias Claden, a German botanist, has observed different plant cells which form the tissues of plant. He has observed that many plant cells are present in different plants, and all plant cells forms tissues inside the plant. Then Theodor Schwann in 1839, who was a zoologist, has said that animal cells have thin outer layer which we call as the plasma membrane, and he also said that cell wall is only present in the plant cells. So Matthias Claden, who was a German botanist, has studied about the plant cells, and Schwann has studied about the animal cells and derived the plasma membrane. And he also said that the cell wall is present only in the plant cells. Then, on the basis of this, Schwann proposed the hypothesis that both plants and animals are made up of cells and cell products. Both of them together formulated the cell theory, but they didn't explain how new cells were formed. They have explained about the plasma membrane, they have explained about the plant cells, their cell wall, then tissues, but they have never explained, or they have not explained that how new cells are formed. Then Rudolf Virchow first explained that cells divided and new cells are formed from the pre-existing cells, that is omnicellula, ecellula, and modified the cell theory and gave it a final shape. And cell theory includes that all living organisms are composed of cells and product of cells. And next is all cells arise from the pre-existing cells. These are the 2 points which are covered in the cell theory. Now the next part is an overview of cell. What is cell? Now cell contains the main two parts, that is nucleus and cytoplasm. Nucleus have the chromosomes which contains the DNA. Nucleus can be membrane bound or membraneless. The membrane bound nucleus are present in the eukaryotic cells, and membraneless nucleus are present in the prokaryotic cells. Cytoplasms are the main arena of cellular activities, and different chemical reactions occur here to keep cell in living state. There are many types of organelles are present in the cytoplasms, and different type of chemical reactions occur over there. Now cells have organelles which can be of two types, that is membrane bound organelle or membraneless organelles. Membrane bound organelles are present in eukaryotes, but they are absent in prokaryotes. And Membraneless organelles are present in prokaryotes as well as eukaryotes. As we can see that the ribosome is a membraneless organelle, but it is present in eukaryote as well as prokaryote. Nucleus is the dense membrane-bound structure present in each cell. It contains chromosome which contains the DNA. Nucleus have a dense membrane boundary around it, and it contains the chromosome which contain our genetic material, that is DNA. Cell have membrane-bound nuclei are called as the eukaryotic cells, and that lacking the membrane-bound nuclei are called as the prokaryotic cells. So on the basis of membrane-bound nuclei, the cells are divided into two groups, that is the eukaryotic cells and the prokaryotic cells. Now the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a semi-fluid matrix present in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. It is the main arena of cellular activity, and various chemical reactions occur in it to keep the cell alive. Various different type of cellular activities like respiration or any other metabolic reactions, and many different chemical reactions which are important for keeping the cell alive occurs in the cytoplasm. Then comes the membrane-bound organelles. Membrane-bound organelles are endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosomes, mitochondria, microbodies, and vacuoles. They are present in eukaryotes. Now, what is organelle? An organelle is a tiny cellular structure that performs specific functions within a cell. Organelle is a tiny structure. It is a part of a cell, and there are different type of cellular functions occurs. Like in mitochondria, the ATPs are formed. Thus, it is known as the powerhouse of the cell. Then in endoplasmic reticulum, lipids and proteins are formed and as well as modified. Then in the Golgi complexes, packaging of different type of substances or different type of compound which come from endoplasmic reticulum occurs. And like this, every organelles have their specific functions. Then ribosome. Ribosome is a non-membrane bound organelle which is present in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. It is present in cytoplasm, chloroplast, in plants, in mitochondria, and in rough endoplasmic reticulum. Centriole is another organelle lacking the membrane, just like we have seen in the previous slide number 5. Like ribosomes, centriole are also not having any membrane around it. They are present in animal cells, which helps in the cell division. As we have seen in the cell division, the centriole helps in the formation of the microtubules, which help in the separation of the daughter chromosomes during the division of the cell. Cells differ greatly in the size, shape, and activity. For example, mycoplasms. Mycoplasm are smallest cells. They are 0.3 micrometer in length. Then comes the bacteria. They are 3 to 5 micrometer. Then the largest isolated single cell is the egg of an ostrich. Then human RBC, which is 7 micrometer in diameter, and the nerve cell is the longest cell. Here are the images. We can see that the red blood cells are round and biconcave in shape. Then white blood cell, they are amoeboid, means they are irregular in shape. And white blood cells, I have even described the types, that is the granulocytes and agranulocytes on the basis of the granules present in them. They can be neutrophil, eosinophil, basophil, or on agranulates include monocytes and lymphocytes. That the nerve cells, which we have seen in the before slide, that they are the longest cell. They are branched. We can see the branches, blue colored branches present over there, and they are the longest cell. Now comes the prokaryotic cells. Prokaryotic organisms include bacteria, blue-green algae, mycoplasms, and PPLO, that is pleuropneumonia-like organisms. They are smaller in size, but they multiply more rapidly than the eukaryotic cells. They vary in the shape and size. For example, bacteria are having different shapes like bacillus, coccus, vibrio, and spiral. Prokaryotes have cell wall surrounding the cell membrane. But an exception is the mycoplasm, which do not have cell wall around it. They do not have well-defined nucleus, as we have seen earlier. Their genetic material is not enveloped in the nucleus because the nucleus is non-membrane bound. Then some bacteria have smaller circular DNA outside the genomic DNA, which is called as the plasmids. Small circular DNA is present in the bacteria, which we call as the plasmid, and these plasmid confers many phenotypic characteristics to the bacteria, like antibiotic resistance. As we have seen in many plasmid, they are having the ampicillin resistant gene or tetracycline resistant genes and many more. Then only ribosome as an organelle is present in the prokaryotic cells. Also have mesosomes and inclusion body. These are also the organelles. As here we can see the prokaryotic cells, they are having the layers, like the innermost layer is the plasma membrane, then the outer is the cell wall, and the next is the capsule. And we can see the cytoplasm, ribosomes, nucleoid, inclusion body, and also the plasmid, that is the small circular DNA, then flagellum, pilus, and fimbriae. And as we have discussed earlier, the shapes of bacteria, that is coccus that are round in shape, then bacillus or rod-like, they are cylindrical and longer, then curved form, they are curvy in shape or wavy in shape, and even the names are written there, that is the spirillum or spirochetes. Then diplococci includes the coccus arranged in that are present in two at a time. Then Neisseria are coffee bean shaped coccus. Then tetrads, that is they are present in the packets of 4. Then Sarcinae are present in 8, 16 or 32 cells packet. Then streptococci, that is the cocci is present in chain. Micrococci and staphylococci, that is large cocci in irregular clusters. Then different type of rods and different type of spiral bacteria. Next is the cell envelope and its modification. Cell envelope is the outermost layer of the cell which protects it from the outer environment. Cell envelope in the prokaryotes present in the bacteria. It is tightly bound 3-layer structure. The layers include the outermost layer is the glycocalyx, then the middle layer is the cell wall, and the innermost layer is the plasma membrane. As we can see here in this image, the plasma membrane is the innermost layer, then comes the cell wall, and then the outermost layer is the capsule, which is the type of glycocalyx. Now, glycocalyx is a layer made up of glycolipid and glycoproteins which help in protecting the bacteria, then cell wall and the plasma membrane. On the basis of difference in the cell envelope and gram staining, there are 2 types of bacteria. Gram staining is a procedure of staining which is utilized for staining the bacteria, and on the basis of gram staining, the bacteria are divided into 2 groups, that is gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative bacteria. Gram-positive bacteria take up the gram stains and gram-negative bacteria do not take up the gram stain. I have even displayed the images of the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria's cell envelope so that we can differentiate between them. Then next is the slime layer, which is the part of the glycocalyx. When the glycocalyx is arranged in the loose sheath-like structure, then it is known as the slime layer. And when the glycocalyx is thick and tough, then it is known as capsule. Then functions of cell wall are: it determines the shape of the cell, it provides the structural support to prevent the bacterium from bursting or collapsing. Then plasma membrane is semi-permeable in nature and it interacts with the outer environment. Here we can see the images of the gram-negative and the gram-positive bacteria's envelope. We can see in the gram-positive bacteria, the layer of the peptidoglycan is much more thicker than that present in the gram-negative bacteria. But in gram-negative bacteria, the lipopolysaccharide layer is much more thick. Thus, on the basis of that, their staining procedure may differ. Next is the mesosome, or it is also known as the chondrioids. It is formed by the extension of the plasma membrane inside the cell. We can see in the image, the plasma membrane layer is shown, and there you can see on the top part the mesosome. Mesosome is formed by the plasma membrane. It is an extension of the plasma membrane, and these extensions can be present in the form of vesicles, tubules, or lamellae. What is the function of the mesosomes? Mesosomes helps in the synthesis of cell wall and replications of the DNA. They also help in equal distribution of the chromosomes into the daughter cells. Then it also increases the surface area of the plasma membrane to carry out various enzymatic activities, and it helps in secretion processes as well as in bacterial respirations. Prokaryotes like cyanobacteria have plasma membrane extensions into the cytoplasm called as the chromatophores, which contains the pigment. It is present in the photosynthetic bacteria. It contains bacteriochlorophyll pigments and carotenoids. Many cyanobacteria which performs the photosynthesis have chromatophore-like pigment, which is chromatophore cells, which is formed by the extension of the plasma membrane inside the cytoplasm. It contains bacteriochlorophyll pigment and carotenoid, and it carries out photosynthesis. Now, bacteria cells can be of two types, that is, they can be motile or immotile. On the basis of that, they have flagella. Flagella is the thin filamentous extension of the cell wall found in the motile bacteria. We can see here the flagellum. One single flagellum is present in the prokaryotic cell, that is the thin filamentous structure. They are extended from the cell wall and they help in the motility of the bacteria. The bacterial flagellum is composed of three parts. We can see in the image, three parts are present, that is the filament, then hook, and the next is the basal body. Filament is the longest portion and extend from the cell surface to the outside. Out of these three fragments or three components of the bacterial flagellum, the longest is the filament, which extends from the cell surface. Now, on the basis of the flagellar arrangement, there are different types of bacteria, that is monotrichous or polar, which is having only single flagellum at one pole, then lophotrichous, that is having tuft of flagellum at one pole, then amphitrichous. Amphitrichous is having flagella on both the sides, but single flagellum will be present. Then peritrichous. Peritrichous has flagella all over, and amphilophotrichous having tuft of flagella at both the ends. Then next structure is the pili. They are elongated tubular structure made up of special protein called as the pilin. Here we can see in the image, the 6 pilus is shown. It is one type of the pili, that is also known as the conjugation pili, and the another is the type 4 pili. Next is fimbriae. Fimbriae is the small bristle-like fibers sprouting out of the cell. They help in the biofilm formation as they can attach to any of the surface to host, so that the bacteria can stay there very easily. They are the type of pili which are smaller in size. They help some bacteria to attach to the rocks in stream and also in host tissue. The pili is also having another function, that is, it provides the virulence to the bacteria. How does this provide the virulence? Actually, the many pathogenic strains like E. coli, Vibrio cholerae, and many other strains of Streptococcus are having pili, and it helps in the virulence in them, because this pili can help to easily attach to the body of the host, and the bacteria can easily enter the host cell and increase by replication, thus helping them to increase their virulence power. Then sex pili is used for the transfer of the DNA from one bacterium to another bacterium during the conjugation. Then type 4 pili is mainly used to generate the motile forces. These help by attaching at the one side of the solid substrate, and then the pili contract and then pull the bacteria forward. Thus, like a grappling-like movement is produced. This is also known as the twitching mobility. Then fimbriae versus pili is shown over here. The comparison between the fimbriae and pili is shown. Fimbriae are the tiny bristle-like fibers arising from the bacterial cells, while pili are the hair-like microfibers on the surface of the bacteria. Fimbriae occurs in both gram-positive and gram-negative bacteria, while pili occurs only in the gram-negative bacteria. The number of fimbriae are much more than the number of pili. The fimbriae are made up of fimbrilline protein and pili is made up of pilin protein. Genes responsible for the formations of fimbriae occurs in the bacterial chromosomes, while genes responsible for the formation of pili occurs in the plasmid. Fimbriae are shorter than the pili. Actually, the fimbriae are a short pili. They are the type of pili, and the pili are longer. Fimbriae are thin, while pili are thick. And fimbriae help in the attachment of the bacteria to the substrate, while pili aid in the bacterial conjugation. Next is the ribosome and inclusion body. In prokaryote, ribosomes are associated with the plasma membrane of the cells. They are 15 to 20 nanometer in size. They are having two subunits, that is 50S and 30S in prokaryotes. Here S denotes the Swedberg's unit, which is denoting the sedimentation coefficient. And both 50S and 30S subunit together form the 70S ribosome. Ribosomes are the site of protein synthesis. Then the polyribosome or the polysomes. When several ribosomes attaches to a single mRNA and form a chain-like structure, then it is known as the polysomes or polyribosomes. The ribosomes in this help in translating the mRNA to protein. That is a step of the central dogma, that is translation. We can see in the image shown the polysome. Then there is the tunnel for mRNA from which the mRNA passes. And also the two subunits, that is the smaller and the larger subunit of the 70S ribosome is also shown. And growing polypeptide chain is shown, which is denoting that the translation is going on. Now, inclusion body. Inclusion body stores a reserve, that is working as a reserve material in the prokaryotic cells present in the cytoplasm. They are non-membrane bound and they lie free in the cytoplasms. Different type of inclusion bodies are present, like phosphate granules, cyanophysin granules, and they store these materials in the reserved form. Then a type of inclusion body is the gas vacuole, which is present in the blue-green algae or purple and gray photosynthetic bacteria. The gas vacuole plays a role to maintain the buoyancy so that the photosynthetic bacteria can easily get the sunlight for carrying out the photosynthesis and prepare their own food. Thus, gas vacuole is present in many aquatic bacteria. Here in the figure, the inclusion body and ribosome is denoted. Next is the eukaryotic cells. As we have described earlier, that the eukaryotic cell mainly have membrane-bound organelles. Eukaryotes include protists, plants, animals, and fungi. They have nucleus, which is surrounded by the nuclear envelope. Then the genetic material is organized as a chromosome. Plant cells have cell wall, while animal cells do not have cell wall. And plastids and large central vacuoles, which are present in the plant cells, are not present in the animal cells. Animal cells have centrioles, which is absent in the plant cells. Here the comparison between the animal cell and the plant cell is shown. We can see that the cell wall is present in the plant cell, but it is absent in the animal cells. And plastids and large central vacuole is also shown. Vacuole almost cover 90% of the plant cell's area. Then centriole is shown in the animal cell. In this image, every component of the plant and the animal cells are shown along with their function. Next is the cell membrane, which is a part of eukaryotic cell. Detailed structure was studied only after advent in electron microscopy in 1950s. In 1950, the advancement in the electron microscope has occurred, and after that, the study on the cell membrane has started. The very first study was done on the human RBC. Its plasma membrane was studied. Then cell membrane is composed of lipid bilayer. Lipid bilayer contain polar head of lipid, which is present towards the outer side of the plasma membrane, and hydrophobic tail, which is present towards the inner side of the plasma membrane. This ensures that the non-polar tail of saturated hydrocarbon is protected from the aqueous environment. The non-polar tail should be present towards inside so that it should be protected from the aqueous environment. Later, biochemical investigation revealed that the cell membrane also possesses protein and carbohydrate. At first, it was shown that lipid bilayer is present in the cell membrane, but after that, it was revealed that the cell membrane also possesses proteins and carbohydrates. In human beings, the membrane of erythrocyte has approximately 52% of protein and 40% of lipid. Then the proteins present in the plasma membrane can be of two types, that is integral protein or peripheral protein. As in the figure, we can see that the integral protein are those proteins which are partially or totally embedded in the lipid bilayer, and peripheral proteins are those which are present on the surface of the plasma membrane. In 1972, fluid mosaic model was given by Singer and Nicholson. They have said that the plasma membrane have quasi-fluid nature of lipids, which enables the lateral movement of the protein within the overall bilayer. This ability of movement is measured as its fluidity. Here in the image, we can see the lipid bilayer, and the quasi-fluid nature of the lipid bilayer allows the lateral movement of the proteins present inside the lipid bilayer, and that can be measured on the basis of fluidity. This fluid nature of the plasma membrane helps in the cell growth, in secretion, in endocytosis, that is engulfment, then cell division, and formation of intercellular junction, that is a junction between two cells. Most important function of the plasma membrane is transport of molecules across it. As we all know that the plasma membrane is selectively permeable, it allows some molecule to pass through it while it does not allow some molecules. Transportation through plasma membrane can be of two types, that is passive transport or active transport. Passive transport occurs without the requirement of the energy. Polar molecules can be transported through the plasma membrane with the help of facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion is the movement of molecule from higher to lower concentration with the help of protein channels or carriers. Here we can see the membrane channel is present in blue color. This membrane channel or protein channel will help the polar molecule to pass through it, and this type of movement is known as the facilitated diffusion, and it is a type of passive transport. Next, the water molecule can pass through the plasma membrane with the help of osmosis, that is diffusion of water through the semi-permeable membrane. And neutral solutes, that is the chargeless solute, can move through the plasma membrane through simple diffusion. Active transport involves the energy. In this, the movement of molecule occurs against the concentration gradient, that is from lower concentration to higher concentration. Thus, it requires energy or ATP. For that, sodium-potassium pumps are used. Here, the reason is given that bipolar molecule cannot pass through the plasma membrane by simple diffusion. We have seen in the previous slide that the polar molecule can pass through the facilitated diffusion but not through the simple diffusion. So the reason is given over here that the polar molecules cannot pass through the phospholipid bilayers because the charged atom or molecules feel the repulsion through the hydrophobic tail which is present in the lipid bilayer or the lipid molecule phospholipid. In this image, we can see the hydrophobic tail. That hydrophobic tail repels the polar molecules because polar molecules are having charge, and these hydrophobic molecules repel those polar molecules and do not allow them to pass through the plasma membrane. Thus, for them, facilitated diffusion is used, and in facilitated diffusion, the movement is just like the simple diffusion, that is from higher concentration to lower concentration, but they require additional molecules like membrane channels for allowing them to pass through. Now comes the cell wall. Cell wall is the non-living and rigid layer present around the cells. They are present in bacteria, algae, and plants, but not present in the animal cells. In plants, cell wall can be of cellulosic, hemicellulosic, pectin, or protein. Then in algae, the cell wall can be made up of minerals, mannans, galactans, and cellulose. While in bacteria, the cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan, as we have seen in the gram-positive and the gram-negative bacteria. Now, the cell wall is derived of the three components, that is the primary cell wall, middle lamella, and the secondary cell wall. Primary cell wall is capable of growth. It can grow, and it is mainly present in the cells, young cells. Then it diminishes as the cells matures. Middle lamella is present on the outermost side, and it helps in connecting two cells. Then cell wall, secondary wall is present on the innermost side toward the plasma membrane. Here the structure is shown. The plasma membrane is situated. After that comes the secondary cell wall, then the primary cell wall, then towards the outer side comes the middle lamella. Cell wall and middle lamella may be transversed, that is travel across by plasmodesmata, which connect the cytoplasm of the neighboring cell. Plasmodesmata is a network between the cytoplasm of one cell to the cytoplasm of the another cells, and middle lamella help in connecting the two neighboring cells. Functions of cell walls. Cell wall helps in giving shape to the cell. It protects the cell from mechanical damage and infection because it is the outermost layer. It helps in cell-to-cell interaction, as we have seen the middle lamella, and it can withstand the turgor pressure. Turgor pressure is the force exerted by the plasma membrane towards the cell wall, and if the turgor pressure would be high, then cell may burst. Thus, cell wall helps or protects the plant cell from bursting. Next is the endomembrane system. Now, in a eukaryotic cell, many different membranous organelles are present, and many of them work together or work in a coordinated manner. Thus, endomembrane system includes endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, lysosomes, and vacuoles. Here in the image, we can see the endomembrane system. It contains the endoplasmic reticulum, then Golgi complex, then lysosomes and vacuoles. Mitochondria, chloroplast, and peroxisomes are not coordinated, thus they are not involved in the endomembrane system. The first component is the endoplasmic reticulum. Endoplasmic reticulum is the network or reticulum of the tiny tubular structure scattered in the cytoplasm. The general structure of the endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membrane called as the cisternae. We can see that in the endoplasmic reticulum, the cisternae are present, which is the main network or main structure in the endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum are divided they divides the intercellular spaces into two components, that is luminal compartment and the extraluminal compartment. Luminal compartment is the compartment that is inside the endoplasmic reticulum, and outside the endoplasmic reticulum it is known as the extraluminal compartment. Endoplasmic reticulum can be of two types, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum or smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Rough endoplasmic reticulum are having ribosomes situated on the surface. We can see it on the image very clearly that the rough endoplasmic reticulum are having round shaped small ribosomes present over it, and they are very close to the nucleus. This rough endoplasmic reticulum help in the protein synthesis, and as it is written over here that they are continuous with the outer membrane of the nucleus, and we can see it in figure also. Next comes the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum do not have ribosomes situated on its surface, and they are involved in the lipid synthesis, while the rough endoplasmic reticulum, we have seen that they are involved in the protein synthesis. In animals, lipid-like steroidal hormones are synthesized in smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Steroidal hormones like cortisol, estrogen, testosterone are synthesized in the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Next is the Golgi apparatus. Camillo Golgi was the first who observed the densely stained reticular structures near the nucleus. They were later named as the Golgi bodies after him. Golgi body are the flat disc-shaped sac or cisternae of 0.5 to 1 micrometer in diameter. Golgi cisternae are concentrically arranged near the nucleus with distinct convex cysts or the forming phase and the concave trans or the maturing phase. Both are interconnected. That is the cis phase and the trans phase, both are interconnected to each other. Then what is the function of the Golgi apparatus? Golgi apparatus, it's carrying out the packaging of the materials which comes from the endoplasmic reticulum, and it is the major site for glycoprotein and glycolipid formation. In this image, we can see the Golgi apparatus. It is having the two phase, the cis phase and the trans phase, and it is having a number of enfolding structures that are known as the cisternae. Then the part that is shown, the incoming transport vesicles, they are coming from the endoplasmic reticulum, and secretory vesicles are removed from the trans phase. Now, the material to be packaged in the form of vesicles from endoplasmic reticulum fuses with the cis phase of the Golgi apparatus and moves toward the maturing phase. The Golgi apparatus and endoplasmic reticulum are situated very near to each other. Thus, the material which is to be packaged first enters the Golgi apparatus to the cis phase there, and then it moves towards the trans phase. Proteins synthesized by ribosomes of the endoplasmic reticulum are modified in the cisternae of the Golgi apparatus before they are released from the trans phase. Along with the packaging, the modification of proteins also occurs in the Golgi complex. The proteins that are formed after the translation process are modified in the Golgi apparatus. Next is the lysosome. Lysosomes are the membrane-bound vascular structure that are formed by the process of packaging of the Golgi apparatus. Then they contain almost all type of hydrolytic enzymes. That is, they carry out hydrolysis. They contain enzymes like hydrolases like lipase, protease, and carbohydrates. And they all work optimally at acidic pH. Lipase carry out the hydrolysis of the lipids. Then protease carry out the hydrolysis of the protein. And carbohydrates carry out the hydrolysis of the carbohydrate and convert them into simple sugars. And carbohydrates contain different enzymes. Mainly they are present as the group of 5 enzymes. These enzymes can digest carbohydrate, lipid, proteins, and nucleic acid. Here we can see the figure of the lysosome. The hydrolytic enzymes mixture is present in the central part, and it is having a lipid layer outside it, and the membrane is present, which is and glycosylated membrane transport proteins are present, which enters through the liposome. Next is the vacuole. Vacuole are the membrane-bound organelles which is present in the cytoplasm. They occupy 90% of the cell volume, mainly in the plant cell, but vacuoles present in the animal cells are generally smaller in size but more in numbers, while the vacuole present in the plant cell is only one. The vacuole contains water, sap, excretory product, and other materials which are not useful for the cells. They are bounded by a single membrane which is known as the tonoplast. In plants, tonoplast help in transport of number of ions against the concentration gradient because their concentration is high in the vacuole than in the cytoplasm. In plant, the tonoplast help in the transport of number of ions which are present in higher concentration in vacuole than in the cytoplasm. Thus, the transport will be against the concentration gradient, and in this, tonoplast helps. Another type of vacuole is the contractile vacuole, which is present in amoeba, which help in excretion. Then comes the food vacuole, which is present in some protists for engulfing the food particles. And before also we have seen one type of vacuole, that is the air vacuole, which help in the buoyancy in many photosynthetic bacteria so that they can carry out photosynthesis easily and they can get the sunlight very easily. Next is the mitochondria. Mitochondria cannot be seen without staining. Thus, we have to stain them before observing them in the microscope. Then their numbers per cell may vary depending on the physiological activities of the cells. Their shape can be sausage shape or cylindrical. Size include the diameter of 0.2 to 1 micrometer and average of 0.5 micrometer and length up to 1 to 4.1 micrometer. They are having two membranes, the outer membrane and the inner membrane, dividing its lumen. Lumen is the central part, dividing the lumen into two components, the outer component and the inner component. Inner component is known as the matrix. Outer membrane forms the continuous limiting boundary of the organelle. We can see in the figure that the outer membrane is fully continuous, while the inner membrane is having many different foldings. They are known as crista, and these foldings are present towards the matrix. We can also see that the mitochondria is having the DNA of its own. Along with that, they are having ribosomes and granules as well as ATP synthase particles. The crista present in the inner membrane will help to increase the surface area of the mitochondria. These two membranes, that is the
How many slides left? How many slides left?
Sir, 35 तक है.
हो जाएगा या बाद में फिर करें?
सर अभी तो 35 तक है. एक्चुअली मेरे लास्ट के 2-3 टॉपिक्स बाकी रह गए थे, तो ये इतना हो जाएगा सर. Okay, continue. These two membranes, that is the outer membrane and the inner membrane, are having their own specific enzymes. Like the outer membrane contains the enzyme like monoamine oxidase, rotenone insensitive NADH, cytochrome C reductase, kynurenine hydrolase, and fatty acid coenzyme A ligase. Then inner membrane contains the enzymes which are included in respiratory activities like NADH, succinate dehydrogenase, FAD, 4 cytochromes, cytochrome C reductase, and ubiquinol. These all enzymes are present because the mitochondria is a site for aerobic respirations, and it also forms the ATP, thus it is known as the powerhouse of the cell. The matrix contains single circular DNA, we have seen it. Now, what is single circular DNA over here? This single circular DNA is having 16,500 pair of nucleotides, and they help to produce energy for each cell. And this mitochondrial DNA is transmitted from mother to the child. That is, it is passed through the mother's egg. In male also, the mitochondrial DNA will be present, which will be transmitted from his mother. It also contains few RNA molecules, ribosomes, which is of 70S type, and component required for protein synthesis. Mitochondria divide by fission, and fission is the division of a single entity into 2 or more parts and regeneration of those parts to separate entities resembling the original. Next is the plastid. Plastid is found in all the plants and the euglenoids. They can be easily seen under microscope because they are larger in size. Plastid are having specific pigments in them that imparts the color to the plant. The types of plastid include the chromoplast, chloroplast, leucoplast, and in the image also we can see different type of plastids, that is etioplast, chromoplast, chloroplast, leucoplast, amyloplast, helioplast, and proteinoplast. And they are having different type of storage material inside them, and they provide different colors to the plant. Let us see. First is the chloroplast. That is, chloroplast is having the pigments like chlorophyll and carotenoid. Chlorophyll provides a green color, while the carotenoid provides yellow, orange, or red color. And these both pigments are very essential for carrying out the photosynthesis in the plants. Then comes the fat-soluble carotenoids. They are keratin, xanthophylls, or others, and they provide yellow, orange, or red color. Then is the leucoplast. Leucoplast are the colorless plastids, and they are of 3 types: amyloplast, helioplast, and aleuroplast. Amyloplast help in the storage of the carbohydrates. They are present in potato. Then helioplast helps in the storage of oils and fats, and aleuroplast help in storing the proteins. Chloroplast is present in the green plants in the mesophyll cells of the leaves. They can be lens-shaped, oval, spherical, discoid, or ribbon-shaped. Their length vary from 5 to 10 micrometer and width from 2 to 4 micrometer. Their number can also vary, like in Chlamydomonas. There is only 1 chloroplast per cell, while in the green algae there are 20 to 40 per cells in mesophilic cells. They are the double membrane bound layer. The inner membrane is relatively less permeable. Then the stroma. Stroma is just like the cytoplasm present in normal cell. Here also the stroma plays the same role, and it is present inside the inner membrane. Then thylakoid. Thylakoid are the flattened membranous sac-like structure. We can see in the figure round oval green shaped structures are present. They are the thylakoid, and stacked pile of thylakoids are known as grana. Grana or thylakoid are connected from each other through stroma lamella, and lumen is the empty space present in the thylakoid. Now comes the ribosome. Ribosome, as we have studied earlier, that it is a non-membrane bound structure. The very first ribosome was observed in the electron microscopy by George Pellady in 1953. They were seen in the granular form. Then they are composed of ribonucleic acid and protein. There are different types of ribosomes, that is 80S and 70S. ATS are generally present in the eukaryotes. They are made up of two subunits. One subunit is of 60S and another is of 40S. Here S denotes the sedimentation coefficient or Swedberg's unit. The 60S subunit is composed of three another rRNA, that is of 28S, 5.8S and 5S, and 40S subunit is composed of 18S rRNA. Then 70S, they are mainly present in the prokaryotes. They are composed of two subunits, 50S and 30S. Here, the 50S subunit is composed of 23S rRNA and 5S rRNA, and 30S subunit is composed of 16S rRNA. S denotes the Swedberg unit, that is the sedimentation coefficient or indirect measure of density and mass. In prokaryotes, the plasma membrane and the cytoplasm contains the ribosomes of 70S type, while in eukaryote also 70S type ribosomes are present in chloroplast and mitochondria. In the above table, I have shown different type of rRNAs and their nucleotide number. As the number of sediment, that is as the Swedberg's unit increases, the nucleotide number keep on increases because the sedimentation coefficient increases. Then comes the cytoskeleton. Cytoskeleton, cyto means cell and skeleton means it will provide the basic structure to the cell. They are the network of filamentous proteinaceous structure present in the cytoplasm. Their functions include mechanical support, motility, and maintenance of the cell shape. Types of filaments that are involved in the cytoskeleton synthesis include actin filament, microtubule, and intermediate filament. Actin filament help in the movement and provide shape to the cell. As we know that the actin filament are also present in the muscles, which help in the muscle movement. Just like that, in cytoskeleton also they help in the movement of cell and they provide shape to the cell. Next is the microtubules. Microtubules play a very crucial role in moving the daughter chromosomes to the newly forming daughter cell during mitosis. And intermediate filaments form the true skeleton of the cells. They anchor the nucleus and position it within the cell, and they give the cell its elastic property and its ability to withstand the tension. Thank you.